Hello, my friends, and thank you for joining for another session. In this session, I'm actually going to take two properties that were on the table to consider in 2017, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. One in Oklahoma City, one in Nashville, similar prices, similar many details, and I want to kind of go back and explore side by side how did both of them perform. And I want to tell you what I think, as someone who was actually at that point, at that time, considering those investments. Why did I choose and recommended our clients to go one way and advise them not to go in a certain way? Before I dive in, I want to tell you that about a week ago, I've done another session that I took a deal in Austin, Texas from 2021, I believe, and I actually took that deal and deconstructed and show what I think was not a good decision making process for anyone who was at that point of time considering Austin, Texas, and what happened a few years later. I want to emphasize we did not recommend, actually, we told investors not to invest in Austin, Texas, even before 2021. Obviously, not a lot of, some didn't listen, and this is the result. Not terrible. Very interesting to learn if you dive into the Austin deal to understand the thought process. There is a reason why we told investors not to go to Austin, Texas back then. The video here, you're on my channel. The video here is the first one. It's called the Austin, Texas behind the scenes deconstruction. It's about 20 minutes. It kind of dives into the details. And what I've seen is that a lot of people, not a lot, some people responded and say, hey, great video. I really learned a lot, or great video. I was actually thinking about Austin, Texas. I'm really happy you shared it. We even have one guy who invested in Texas who said, hey, I completely, or not completely, somewhat disagree with you. And he's right. I'm not all that against Austin, Texas. I just think as investors, not people who visit places around the world, we owe it to ourselves to do better investment wise, right? The whole point is to do better. So, what I'm going to tell you right now regarding Oklahoma City and Nashville, it's all about can we do better? That's the whole point here. So, let's dive into this deal, and I want to show you what I've done here. So, let's start with this. I'm going to give you a brief introduction. We're going to talk about two deals the same time, one in Oklahoma City, one in outside Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm going to give you in a moment side by side how those pan out. Now, I want to emphasize a few things. If you have invested in Oklahoma City, this is not terrible. Oklahoma City is a great market. If you are considering investing in Oklahoma City is not terrible. It's a great market. The question is, could you have done better or could you do better? That's the whole point here. And let me tell you where I'm coming from. There's two things that I noticed over the years that give me the position to make a determination why I preferred not to continue investing in Oklahoma City. So I started my real estate investment activity in Oklahoma City in 2005. And I've been probably active for about a decade, maybe 11 years in the Oklahoma City market. And to this day, I don't think it's a bad market altogether. That being said, I have noticed on a very large scale number of properties that many of the investment properties that were purchased in Oklahoma City did okay, did fine, right? At about the same time, almost all the other properties that we bought in other parts of the country did much, much better. And this is before even COVID. I'm not talking about COVID, what happened after COVID. I'm just talking about 2005 2000 to 2016. And around 2015 to 16, I started questioning here, what are we doing here? Should we continue investing in Oklahoma City or not? And the question was not, is it a bad place to consider? It is not. Spoiler, it's not. The question was, can we do better? And after 10 plus years of activity, looking at performance on multiple properties, I have to disclose here that continuously Oklahoma City was at the bottom of the performance. So what does it mean? It was still performing well, right? Again, not a bad decision to go there. The question again, can we do better? So question number one, or issue number one I had with Oklahoma City as a real estate investment market, not as a place to live, not as a place of quality. I have people that I know there. They're great people, very professional. But hey, I'm an investor. I am not looking at places around the world where I could live happily or quality of life. I'm looking for better returns, right? So it's about, can I do better? So Oklahoma City, after 10 years, I realized point number one, it's performing just okay. I have no problem with okay, but I aspire to do more than just okay for myself and for my clients. So issue number one, it was just not performing as nicely in terms of value increase and rent increase. Okay. Issue number two, around 2015-ish, I discovered there's a very odd old law in Oklahoma City that says in a, I'm gonna make simplify it, if you're not a US citizen, if you're not a US citizen, then you may have problem owning properties in Oklahoma, not Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, right? So this is very odd. What is this law? And I looked into it, and it's really old and probably forgotten, and probably it's some regulation that accumulating dust on somewhere. And some of the people that I talked to we said, yeah, I've heard about it. I know about it. Actually, some of the locals, I actually was the one who told them about it. But I kind of dug into that to better understand. And then I realized that law exists. Maybe it's not being utilized. Maybe it's not being used. It exists. And if you really understand, I'll show you a link in a moment about this. I am not your legal representation about it, but for me as an investor who works with a lot of foreigners, non-US citizen, non-citizens, foreigners, people who live in the States and are not citizens, the people who live in other countries that are not citizens, I immediately got a little bit nervous, right? So I just told all my clients that I know that are not citizens to be aware of that, maybe to take some action in terms of their citizenship. I just gave them a warning. Then any new client who came, I said, listen, if you are looking to buy in Oklahoma City, we can help you. But if you're not a citizen, I want you to understand this odd law. And I would always say, you know what? Probably nothing's going to happen, but you never know what will happen in 5, 10, years. This law may come back to life. And guess what? In 2023, it did, and I'll talk about it at the end, and I'll show you in a moment. So there was another reason for me not to consider Oklahoma City on the top of the other one. Now, let's let the number talk. When I was looking at similar deal to this one, not this one specifically, this is not something that was presented by us, but I came across it, I looked at it, I'm like, okay, everything looks fine. I'm not going to dive in because you'll see in a moment. The numbers are okay. The rent is okay. The starting point, pretty okay, right? At the same time, I was looking at this deal as well. This is just very similar, almost identical in terms of the numbers, very similar in the same segment of the market, like probably the middle class, good schools. So this is not necessarily a bad deal or a bad location versus an excellent location or vice versa. You know what? Can you really do apples to apples between two metros? I don't know. But let's just say similar apples, right? And I said, all right, I already know what's going on in Oklahoma City historically because I've been there for 10 years. And I have a good sense of what's going on in Nashville. I wasn't even predicting what it did afterwards, but I was just, okay, I could see where it's heading. I'm like, for me, this is a much better deal than the one in Oklahoma City, even if the numbers, are similar. So I actually took all the figures, all the numbers, spent some time and reverse engineering or went back to the decision point and wanted to see, first of all, how it looked back then, and then what happened few years in. So here it is. I'm sorry. We're looking at those two properties. I'll touch on the other things that you'll see some Other things on the side, I'll touch on that in a moment. I'm like, okay, 4 bedroom, 2 bathroom, 4 2, 3 2, square footage. This is bigger, right? 500 square feet bigger, similar size, similar, almost same year, not too far. Garage, schools, pricing, 170. I didn't know exactly the number, so I just say let's just make everything, as much as we can the same. This is identical. 170 both was the purchase price at market value. Some improvements needed. Both of them were not in bad shape. Closing costs, mortgage fees, etc. 25% down, excuse my typo here, same figures, same interest rates, same number of years, so no problem. Rent, actually Oklahoma City was $50 more than Nashville, okay. All the other numbers, well, Nashville is doing a little bit better in property taxes, in insurance, repairs are about the same, HOA here, no HOA there, okay, maybe a little bit better. So when we're looking at the numbers, they're not that, Nashville is performing a little bit better, not that much more to say, wow, huge difference, right? I'm looking here, okay, the cash flow projected is $180 in Oklahoma City per month after all expenses, 232. You know what? $50 more. Actually, it's quite a bit more, percentage wise, but not necessarily like, okay, we have to make it this. I have to make it different. It's a very clear cut that one will do better. Maybe just the margin of error here. Maybe I'm even, fudging the numbers to show Nashville a little bit better than Oklahoma City. I'm not, but let's just say, all right. So we got a $50 more ish in Nashville versus Oklahoma City. Already a little bit better, but okay. Now, not to understand a little bit the figures, and we see that they're not that different, right? 170, almost the same rent, similar expenses. Nashville is doing, cash flow is a little bit better. Great. Let's look what happened after few years, right? So this is purchased in 2017. Fast forward to 2024. So we are at 2024. The rent on this one in Oklahoma is 1750. In Nashville, it's 2000. Guys, it's not even 1750, right? So actually, I'm fudging the number because I think we can actually get for this house 1700. Maybe 1675, but I want it to be a little bit, positive. And actually, the one in Nashville, I think we can get a little bit more than 2,000. But you know what? All right, already $250 more. Quite a difference when we're always chasing, the cash flow. Then you can see that here the rent went up by $350. Here it went up by $650. So here it is exactly as I was imagining or already knowing the challenges of Oklahoma City. I could tell based on experience, we're probably not going to have a strong increase in rent. And here it is, almost double the rent increase in the same period of time. Already red flags on, warning or concern about one market and, doing better than expected on the other one, right? Okay. Value-wise, right? The same house went up $105,000 in the same period of time, went up by value, went up $165,000 in Nashville. So we have two markets. One, like I told you, did it do badly those years? Not at all. It went up by 100,000. I would call it okay. I would call it even great. However, in Nashville, it went up even more, a lot more, 60% more, right? So what am I trying to tell you? Do I know the future? No, I don't. Do I know the past? Yes, I do. How do I know the past? Actually investing there. So going through the history of activity in 10 years and knowing how one market is not performing as well as as many other markets, just told me it's not worth going here when we can do better, or you know what, probably as good, but potentially better, historically speaking, that I want to shift my funds and my investors' funds to another market. So you can see here, when I did the other video in Austin, people's like, oh, how you go back, you're like, a Monday morning quarterback. No, guys, this is not Monday morning quarterback. Why? I didn't know Nashville would perform that well. I didn't know even Oklahoma City would perform that well. But I did know Oklahoma City did not perform as good as many other metros around the country at the same time. And that was my assumption. I could have been wrong, no doubt, but I already knew some things and I made those decisions based on the history comparing Oklahoma City to other metros around the country at the same time. I'm talking about 2005 to 2015. So that's where I came from, right? Again, anyone who's looking at the performance here of Oklahoma City would say, what do you want? It did well. I agree. It did well. I think it's a good market. It checks all my boxes. It checks all the boxes that I'm looking for in a metro to consider investing in. I'm just trying to see if there's a way I can do better as an investor, as someone who helps other, guides other in real estate. Can I help them, direct them to other markets? And the fact is, around 2015, 2016, we stopped investing in Oklahoma City. So I'm not just saying, hey, here's a theoretical idea. I actually performed or acted on my own determinations, conclusions back in 2015, 2016, and we stopped. We still have properties there, but we stopped. We discontinued buying, right? Why? Only because I thought and saw that we can do better. Plus, if you remember at the beginning of this video, I was talking about this obscure, odd Oklahoma law that says something about how non-US citizens should not be owning real estate or properties. By the way, I read a little bit about the update from November 2023, and it even says directly or indirectly, so they're outsmart. They're not that stupid. I'll own it through an LLC, so they wouldn't know. Well, they're not that stupid after all. Legislation. So I want to give you the other aspect of it, and I'll talk about that in a moment. I also want to show you something that sometimes I'm looking at. I'm going to scroll down a little, zoom out a little bit. Sometimes I'm looking at companies that are providing the information about investment opportunities, and I'm like, really? That's how you present it? I mean, we're 2024. You're presenting it like, what's going on with you? Can't you be a little bit more, I don't know, whatever. So I just want to show you, when we present a deal, we look at, of course, the mortgage, the principal and interest and insurance and taxes. As you can see here, homeowners associations, PMI, if there is one, a management fee, no doubt, right? I also take into account to the calculation, where is the listing fee? It's part of the expenses. Oh, okay, sorry, I apologize. Listing fee is here. It is added as an asterisk. Now, what about vacancy? Well, here's some vacancy. So I definitely, on my end, acknowledge there's vacancy. We know there's vacancy, right? You guys, with all the respect to Oklahoma City, it is not 100% occupied, metro. There are vacancies. I know I'm busting some people that don't believe it, but there is some vacancy. Wait, hang on a second. PMI, okay, so where is the, monthly management, leasing fee, no vacancy. So what am I missing here? Leasing fee and vacancy, right? As if they're not included. Wait, hang on a second. No monthly repairs. So what are we saying here? Repairs, some allocation. You can argue if that's enough or not. There is at least some allocation here for monthly maintenance repairs, average, right? Let me, hang on a second. I got to look deeper. PMI, principal and interest, insurance, taxes, homeowner association, management fee. Got it, management fee. Oh, no, okay, that's not it. So I guess the numbers here are great, right, to begin with, but let's just say if this is, I think this is 15, 20, 25. So if we're looking here, we have a cash flow of, let's just say, average of about $300 here, minus vacancy, minus repairs. Let's just knock off about 100-ish, right? This is something from 2017, so it doesn't matter, right? I mean, it's not today's. So right off the bat, I'm missing some expenses here, right? So just want to show you all those errors are just saying here, we have those expenses. We consider them when we go through an analysis, like here, again, not a property that we offered, I should say. And this is the Tennessee one, the outside of Nashville. This is actually an actual property owned by one of our clients. So this is not just random property. So here's the numbers. Here's the maybe I'm wrong a little bit about the rate. Maybe it's 5%. Who cares? I would just do the same. So property taxes here, insurance here, repairs, it's here. Property management, leasing fee, I got it. HOA, zero, but it's still here. Vacancy, it's here, right? So I'm not forgetting numbers because, it's really comfortable to forget numbers as they may impact my cash flow. Oh, interesting. All right, guys, I want to come back to this point of, where is it? Sorry. Okay, it should be here. Apologies here. Where is my Excel? I compare. Okay. Back in 2015, 16, when I learned about this regulation law of non-US citizen owning in Oklahoma, I could not comfortably tell my clients that are not citizens, that they should, nothing's going to happen. I would just tell them, listen, here's what I think. And I have a little concern that probably would not pan out or materialize, that sometimes down the road, they may come up and say, hey, it's on the books, it's a law, let's revisit this law and maybe consider reviving it a little bit. And guess what? Oh my God. If you look this year in November of 2023, something is being revived about this law. Now, I'm not saying something is being done about it just yet, but something is being revived about this law, and that makes me a little bit nervous. So if I am someone who own property and I'm not a citizen in the US, I would be concerned. I would at least dive in and check what is the impact and what should I do about it, and maybe be prepared. If I am someone who owns in Oklahoma City and I'm not a citizen, and I would ask my representative, did you tell me about it? Are you aware of it? Ah, you are aware and you didn't tell me. Not okay. What do you think I should do about it, right? So I don't want to freak anybody out. I just want to say, you know what? Something to think about, right? So yes, I'm trying to show off and told you that I made great decisions along the way, but honestly, this was all simple common logic, right? I only used two things. One, saw the history for 10 years of activity in Oklahoma City and other markets. Number two, just a little bit afraid about this weird kind of a law, right? That may have no impact on me whatsoever, but maybe it would. I've got to tell you a little secret. I am not in love or fallen out of love in Oklahoma City. I'm just an investor. I have options. I have alternatives. I can go to other parts of the country that may not present me one problem or another, in order to make the investment decisions a little bit safer and better, right? So I really hope this helps kind of dive into this. If you have questions about what I spoke about, if you have comments, you agree with me, great. You don't agree with me, great. You know what? That is a healthy discussion. You maybe purchase multiple properties in Oklahoma City in a different segment. Maybe you went and bought those 50, which I've done that too, $60,000, $70,000 home, 5 or 10 years ago, and they performed tremendously. Good for you, right? Good for you. My question is, could you have done better with the same numbers elsewhere? Maybe not. And if you disagree, that's okay. That's a whole not a problem. I actually encourage you to send us a feedback, to subscribe to our channel, to review, to see other such videos and other videos with full of content. This is all about learning. I did not know Nashville will perform so beautifully in 2017 when we started, or 2016 or 15 when we started investing there. I did not know Nashville will do so well, right? I had all my, everything that I like to see in a metro, that I could see there's a good potential for it, but I didn't know that. It outperformed my prediction. No problem there. I'm actually cautious about my predictions, right? But it did outperform. So all I want to say is encourage you to think. and encourage you to have an understanding. It's good to go back, evaluate, and think about your next move. If you invested in Oklahoma City, don't panic. No need to panic. It's not a bad investment, and we can probably navigate that situation with this odd law one way or another. If you're not sure how to navigate it and you're like seeking advice or direction and you want our help to maybe explore what to do, hey guys, I'll give you my 30, 45 minutes, no charge, just to think. Maybe we can help you. Maybe I can't help you. I don't know, but I'll honor that, because if you're thinking you're maybe a little bit in a pickle, I'll try to give to give some help here. No problems. Just reach out and say, hey, watch the video. I saw Oklahoma City. I own in Oklahoma City. I'm actually in a similar situation. Can I talk to you about it? Yes, you can. I'll try to give you my honest opinion. Again, Oklahoma City is not a bad market to invest in, right? That's the main message here, right? It's not a bad market. You can see here, it still went up. It still did well. So it's not a bad market altogether. So thank you for listening. You're most welcome to comment, to send a feedback, to tell us what you think. You can even say, Dani, this is full of crap. That's okay. It's a discussion, but that's okay. I am very much loving those discussions. When I am arguing with someone online about one criticism or another, it actually propels me as well. It gives me some ideas of thinking, maybe things that I did not think about, or maybe someone says, hey, on one of the videos, this is not how you do it, or you have a mistake in your numbers. Actually, I don't, according to him, but he believes I do. So it doesn't matter. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. Thank you for taking the time. I really hope to hear from you on those investments and others, because that's what we do day in, day out. Have a terrific rest of your day. Bye-bye.